Welcome to Real Estate Investment Management Brokerage Development LLC. Do-it-yourself scaffolding to build drywall up into a high foyer. This foyer is in a residential house is 20 feet high. So consideration was buying regular scaffolding, but it's expensive and it would not be customizable to fit over the stairs, and it wouldn't fit in this space that we had. So we thought to build it ourselves. In addition, we thought, well, gee, could we rent scaffolding? We wanted the scaffolding up for probably months, so renting wasn't practical either. So we decided to build it ourselves. And another consideration was, well, if we bought the scaffolding, where would we store it afterwards? And we wouldn't want to store it in the house, so we'd want to throw it out. So we thought, well, gee, if we build it, we can reuse the boards and the timber. So all that went into the scaffolding. Notice it's tall. This scaffolding is 14 feet high. And notice how it's built to be sturdy. For instance, if you look here, these cross members, they zigzag all the way up, and they're constructed the same way in the opposite direction on the opposite part of the cube. This adds strength and stability, and the same thing goes on in the sides. And then on the top, we have these 2x4s. Notice they're set vertical for strength. It's a span of about 8 feet, and we have them about 1.5 inches apart. Now somebody's got to get up there, so it's got to be sturdy. So these design features of the zigzag and some other things I'll show you make it sturdy enough. However, as you can see, it's high. It's 14 feet, and then it's 20 feet to the roof. It is required that if you use this idea that you wear a harness and you're tied in case it crumbles or in case you fall off of it. So that's my disclosure. So let's take a closer look at this and see the joints. Notice it rolls. So we have these caster wheels with locking features, and that allows us to move it back and forth. And then look at how these joints are tied in. They're tied in a number of different ways. And we use screws like this. This is an exterior screw. We use 2.5-inch screws. So let's take a look at this from the side view. See this? And again, you have this crisscross feature upward, and it's the opposite on the opposite side. So let's take a look at what else needed to occur. So here's a good view of the scaffolding. See, it had to be rolled in this space here, from this all the way to the back. And so it goes up about 14 feet high, and we used it to install this drywall up here. But the challenge was, how do you do that over the stairs? So we needed to add this. We took this ladder vertically and we spanned it all the way across to another ladder perpendicular, tied it together, and then we could add these cross sections here of these boards here, and we actually drilled holes in the board and strung rope through the boards and through the rungs of the ladder. So it was a good working space. So now you have this scaffolding 14 feet high with locking wheels. Then you have the boards going this way, and they're secured to a ladder which is fixed and tied in this way. And then you have your working space. So it's only about 5 feet. It feels like 5 feet to the ceiling, and then you can do your work. But you got to be tied in. You have to have a harness and be tied in. So let's take a closer look. What we have going on, here's a ladder. And as you can see, those boards are tied in here. And they're just resting on this 14-foot scaffolding. And then we have places where you could tie in with a harness. Really helped. So you see the drywall installed, but we needed to get there. We need to get there in this 20-foot high foyer. It's really hard. Let's take a closer look. Look, I have this ladder tied in at this height, just with some rope, and I put it on a chair so I get the height that would match the scaffolding there. Let's take a closer look here. Okay, now here's my ladder coming in here. It's tied in here. And notice, see these boards.